Fuck this movie. Andrew Lloyd Webber. One of the most highly awarded people in the world of Broadway, he's won an Emmy, an Academy Award, 3 Grammys, and a whopping 6 Tonys, having composed 13 musicals over a career that spans all the way back to the 1960s. He was even knighted by Queen Elizabeth II for his contribution to the arts. In 1981, he created one of the longest-running Broadway musicals of all time with Cats, based on Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats by T.S. Eliot. And while it wasn't a massive critical success in its initial run, it was a massive hit with audiences, and for many years after, there have been talks about a film adaptation. In the 1990s, Steven Spielberg wanted to create an animated version of the musical, which would have been set in a war-torn London during the Second World War, and was even rumored to have Don Bluth on as a director at one point. However, after the closure of Spielberg's animation studio, Amblimation, in 1997, the project fell through, and even though in 1998 there was a successful direct-to-video movie based on the musical, it wouldn't be until the late 2010s when Academy Award-winning director Tom Hooper came on board to direct a fully live-action version of the musical, utilizing modern visual effects to bring the anthropomorphic cat people to the screen rather than using the makeup and spandex that had been used since the inception of the musical back in the 80s. In July of 2019, the first trailer was released with massive amounts of backlash due to the CGI use for the film, and in December of 2019, Cats was released to the world, turning into a huge critical and financial flop, and it went on to win 6 Razzie Awards, including Worst Picture. And the question now stands, did it deserve all this backlash? Well, not to spoil anything, but yes. But, for the sake of this video, let's take a look anyway. This is Cats. We begin with the sound of an out-of-tune synth that'll be in your nightmares this week, as we see a car begin to drive down an alley with a bag in the passenger seat. The driver throws the bag into a garbage pile, something that I think we all want to do with this movie, and we see our fur-covered monstrosities inspect what's in the bag. We then see what could be the closest thing to a protagonist in the movie, Victoria, played by Francesca Hayward in her feature film debut. And as she's let out of the bag, we get our first song in the musical, Jellicle Cats.
Are you blind when you're born?
Can you see in the dark?
And you look at a king?
Would you sit on his throne?
Can you say of your bite that is worse than your bark? Oh, you got to walk when you're walking alone.
And here's one of our first problems with the movie. Aside from the obvious. Tom Hooper is using the same technique he did for Les Miserables by having all the actors sing live on set rather than pre-recording their tracks like a traditional musical. And while it does allow the actors a little more leeway in terms of bringing their own unique performance at play, it's also a disadvantage as they wouldn't be able to fix as many tone shifts and voice breaks in post compared to the controlled environment of a booth.
Jellicle songs for Jellicle cats. Jellicle songs for Jellicle cats. Jellicle songs for Jellicle cats.
That being said, the song is done pretty well here. If anything, the movie gets a majority of the musical numbers done decently.
Hallelujah, Angelical choir.
In the middle of the song, we get our requisite villain for the evening, Macavity, played beautifully over the top by a more than likely drunk Idris Elba. His goal, like the others, is to become the Jellicle choice so that way he can be born into a new life. And some of you I know are asking, what the hell am I talking about and what the hell is a Jellicle cat? Well, the simple answer, it's just a term that T.S. Eliot came up with when he was making the poems to describe the cats themselves. However, in the musical and the movie, let's be honest, it's basically a cult. The closest thing to a plot in the musical is that the Jellicles come together once a year, and their leader, Old Deuteronomy, chooses who will go to the Heaviside Lair, basically cat heaven, and be reborn as a new cat in a different life. Just add Tom Cruise and I think we'll have all the boxes checked for Crazy Cult Bingo. We continue through the songs as we get introduced to Mr. Mistopheles, the magic cat, Munkastrat, the tribe leader and main storyteller of the stage musical, and we come to Jenny Anydots, played horribly by an also clearly drunk Rebel Wilson.
When the day's hustle and bustle is done, then the Gumby Cat's work is but hardly begun.
Now this is actually a fairly fun song in the play where the cats dress up as mice and cockroaches to do a pretty elaborate tap dancing number. And here we have...
Dilly-dop, 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 wop-woo. Dilly-dop, 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 wop-woo. Dilly-dop, 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 wop-woo.
Satan. I mean, good lord! I thought the cat people were unsettling, but this takes it to all new disturbing heights. I mean, let's just hope that it doesn't get more disturbing from here.
What is that? What the fuck is that?
And the cockroaches had human faces, and Rebel Wilson unzipped her skin, and there was a tap dancing outfit underneath, and the... Oh.
Sounds to me like you're just a scared little bitch.
What should I do?
Fuck if I know. I'm not even a real therapist. You just gave me this clipboard.
Well, thanks for at least listening to me, Doc.
Fuck off!
So, after that nightmare, we then get introduced to one of the most popular songs and characters from the show, Rum Tum Tugger, played by Jason Derulo, who surprisingly is pulling off a great British accent, despite the fact that he's from the US. Now the song and the character in and of themselves are very sexually charged, and the massive amount of sexual overtones in the stage show are amplified to 11 in the movie.
But I make such a fuss if I can't get out. Do you think he just got neutered? Because those notes are like,
Oh yeah, and Rebel makes some improv jokes here on the side. Just making the experience more painful for the rest of us. They go into the milk bar and remember how I was talking about those sexual overtones? How the hell did this movie get a PG rating? Ladies and gentlemen, this is a classically trained opera singer turned pop star who's spraying his man milk all over a bunch of young, impressionable female cats. And you don't know why that doesn't just scream PG? He comes out of the milk bar and we run into Grisabella, played by Jennifer Hudson. A great casting choice to be sure, and definitely a phenomenal voice. But she's just a terrible choice for Grisabella. Let me explain. Grisabella is a character that has fallen far from her stature and is far from the cat that she used to be after she ran off with McCavity and, well, it's heavily implied that she was a prostitute. And because of this, the rest of the Jellicles kicked her out and shunned her till she became very old and frail. And the only happiness she has is by reflecting on the days of her youth. While the initial casting of a phenomenal actress and singer like Jennifer Hudson is great, to many, including myself, she's just too young to play the role. It should have instead gone to the originator of the role, Elaine Paige. But I guess the studio just wanted to have the safe choice for the marketability. I guess we'll never really know. We then get our introduction to yet another cat, both my favorite character and favorite song from the stage show.
Good evening, all.
Bustopher Jones, played actually pretty okay by James Corden.
Bustopher Jones. I'm not skin and bones. In fact, I'm remarkably fat.
But of course the movie has to fuck it up in some way.
Look at you and look at me, and you know that I'm sensitive about my size.
Yeah, just like Rebel Wilson, he was added in to do some comedic relief. Even though the character in and of himself is basically comedic in nature. With the over-the-top presence of his tuxedo and large spoon, he's a silly but very respectable character. Whereas in the movie, he eats a lot? And to be honest, he's kind of an asshole. In the beginning of the song, he's pretty much like his character from the stage show, but as the song keeps going further and further, he just seems to be bossing everyone around like they're his servants, and he's stuffing his face on every turn. We also see McCavity go up to Jenny Anydots, and he does that, I guess.
Bust up for Jones in white spy. Yeah!
Cutting back to the end of the song, we also see McCavity take Bustopher Jones as he dives headfirst into a pile of garbage. There's a metaphor in there somewhere. Oh yeah, this movie's shit. After McCavity takes Bustopher, the rest of the cats bolt, as Victoria is left all alone, and then we get to meet two more characters, Mungo Jerry and Rumpelteazer, to which they pretty much add nothing to the overall story, they're just kinda there. I will say again though that the song is well done, and the scene in particular actually has some pretty good choreography and camera work. But like I said, they pretty much add nothing to the overall story, so let's just move on.
There's nothing at all to be done about that.
A vase smashes onto the floor and a dog in the house begins barking. I have several questions. Firstly, how did the dog not hear them smash the plates before? Secondly, what the fuck does that dog look like? We don't know. We never get to see it. Whether it would have been a normal dog or if it would have been anthropomorphic like the cats. Either way, we'll never know. So Mr. Mistopheles helps Victoria get away, and we cut to a boat on the River Thames as we see where McCavity has taken Jenny Anydots and Bustopher. You know, with all the names going about, it just occurred to me how stupid this all sounds.
You can't just say Thames because it rhymes with Ames. It's the River Thames.
I hate this. It is revolting.
More?
Please.
We then cut back to the Jellicles as we now get our introduction to the patriarch, or in the case of the movie, the now matriarch of the tribe, Old Deuteronomy, played by Dame Judi Dench.
Well, of all things, can it be really? Yes, no, I am my heart.
Now, an interesting fact about Judi Dench, she was going to be in the original Broadway production of Cats. She was going to play as Grisabella, but due to an injury, she wasn't able to continue with the performance. During her introduction, we also see Gus, the theater cat, played by an always well-distinguished Sir Ian McKellen.
Unpleasant to appear when they
Wonderful. So the Jellicle Ball finally begins with... To be honest, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. As we then get a slew of choreographed dance numbers. And it's in this particular huge section of the film where things start really falling apart in terms of the effects. In namely one area, the feet. Half of the time it fully looks like they're floating above it by at least a few inches. They just feel so damn floaty! Another thing is the editing. Some of the shots hold decently well, but other times it's so chopped up that I have no idea what they're doing half the time in terms of dancing. It's just all over the place. Also, am I going crazy, or are those two cats wearing goddamn sneakers? I know this is probably a weird point to ask this, but why the fuck are they wearing sneakers? The dancing ends as Victoria steps outside to see Grisabella leaning against a lamppost, beginning a prelude to the most famous song of the musical, Memory. Now I will say, this is a beautiful rendition of the song. The pacing is good, the editing is good, the handheld feel actually adds to the broken down feel of the character. Alright movie, you get 1 point. Granted, you still have a shit ton against you, but A for effort. We also get one new song for the musical called Beautiful Ghosts, which is sung by Victoria.
Follow me home if you dare to.
It was written by both Andrew Lloyd Webber and Taylor Swift as a way of giving more depth and character to Victoria. It is a really nice song and definitely deserved the nomination that it got at the Golden Globes. You get one more point, movie.
So I'll dance with these beautiful ghosts.
The moments of happiness. We had the experience.
Oh boy. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we found our Russell Crowe for the movie. Judy, we love you, but my god, you sound so raspy that even the Marlboro Man is asking if you're okay. We cut back to Gus the theater cat as he... Honestly, I don't know what joke to make here, I'm so confused. This does lead, however, to my favorite performance in the movie, with Gus telling of the days of his youth as a cat playing in big productions, and how things are not what they used to be. And it is a well done scene here. Though one thing stands out at the very end. Judy, please, for the love of God, never do that again. But of course, McCavity comes in to take Gus as well.
Truly inspirational and scary. McCavity!
McCavity! Thank you, Idris Elba, for making this so bearable. Whew. We get a musical number involving Skimbleshanks, to which we're gonna skip it because I'm not a fucking sadist, who's then also taken by McCavity, and we get our next song performed by Bombalurina, played by Taylor Swift. And y'all thought Rum Tum Tugger was over-sexualized? Get a load of this.
McCavity, there's no one like McCavity.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're not imagining this. This is in fact a musical number where Taylor Swift jiggles her cat tits and gets everyone in the room high on fucking catnip. And y'all question why this is PG. Hell, I think I would have made it G. What the hell is this movie? So McCavity finally pops up and what the fuck?
He's a fiend in human shape, a monster of depravity. What the hell was that?
They've done it. The Cats movie actually did it. They fucking broke me. I can do nothing now but embrace the crazy. You know what? I'm gonna need a minute. So after that happens, McCavity has Deuteronomy right where he wants her, and asks her to make him the Jellicle choice.
But why?
Yeah, I'm with Ryan on this one. You already have the powers of a fucking god. Why the hell would you want a different life? If you want it so bad, why not just magic your way up to yourself, you lazy asshole? McCavity teleports away with old Deuteronomy, and tries to coerce her to send him to the Heaviside Lair, and he tells Growl Tiger to have her...
Make her walk the plank.
Sure, why the fuck not? So the Jellicles need to find a way to, quote, magic her back, as Victoria makes a suggestion.
You're a magician.
What?
Now it should be noted that in the stage show, the one who actually first suggests Mr. Mistopheles is actually Rum Tum Tugger, with him even beginning the song. But because they gave an even bigger role to Victoria, they had her bring him up, and for some reason had Munkastrap begin the song.
The greatest magicians have something to learn from Mr. Mistopheles' conjuring turn.
Another thing, the song itself in the stage show is highly energized and incredibly fun, and here, it's just kinda there. They try to give it some big emotional gravitas to try and bring back old Deuteronomy, but it makes Mr. Mistopheles go from a confident, powerful magician into a pathetic sad sack who can barely shuffle cards.
Oh well, we tried.
Of course, he ends up bringing back old Deuteronomy, and we see the rest of the cats make their escape from the barge. Victoria goes outside and brings Grisabella to the Jellicles, and we hear a full rendition of Memory, and it's fantastic. Her vocals, her pain and sorrow compelled through the quivering of her lips, the tears, it damn near rivals the I Dreamed a Dream scene from Les Miserables. Unfortunately, I still have to look at those ungodly beings, but the song is great. Old Deuteronomy makes her choice, and the Jellicle choice of the evening is Grisabella.
And there was much rejoicing.
So with the help of Mr. Mistopheles, they make a balloon out of the chandelier. Yep, sure, why the fuck not? And Grisabella is carried off into the sky as the morning sun comes up to greet her into the Heaviside Lair. Man, what a piece of shit.
You've heard of several kinds of cat.
It's still going. The torment isn't stopping! Quick, Arnold, do something!
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
Thank you, Arnold.
No problemo.
McCavity fails at getting to the Heaviside Lair, and all's well that ends fucking terribly. This movie is awful! It's no wonder why this movie won 6 Razzies. It's horrendous! The effects are laughable, the writing is questionable for the different turns that it made for the characters, half of the cast act completely bonkers, and it's just a shitty adaptation of one of the most iconic musicals ever put on stage. I pray to whatever demon is watching that he purges my memory of this piece of shit from it. But as for now, the pain will linger for days to come. So that was my review of Cats. I hope you all enjoyed it because you're going to be paying for my therapy bills later. I'll see you guys next time.
Goodbye, everyone. I'll remember you all in therapy.